the restoration was very, very long and difficult because we are inside the Etna Park. It wasn't so simple, and all that you see inside were built, some inside directly and some were entered from the upper part. So it's true what we we are talking about.
Welcome to the next generation with me, your host, Giulia Stocchetti. Join me as I take you on a journey to discover young stars of the Italian food and wine world. Pronti? Andiamo!
Hi everyone, and welcome back to a new episode of the Next Generation on the Italian Wine Podcast. Today, I'm so happy to have here with me a beautiful young lady that is based on Etna, a volcanic young woman whose name is Serena, and she's actually from Palmento Costanzo winery. I met her like a month ago during press tour that there was on the Etna. We visited her winery and I was so amazed by the landscape, but the beautiful winery, the beautiful people there, and the amazing hospitality. And then, surprise, surprise, we met also a couple days ago during Taormina Gourmet on tour in Palermo, and was such a beautiful surprise because we were like, hey, there's the interview schedule on Wednesdays in a couple of days. The wine world is so small and so nice, but I don't want to lose more time talking, and I'd like to welcome Serena to the show. Ciao, Serena.
Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here with you and with Giulia that I met, as she told, some months ago, and I'm very, very happy.
Thank you, Serena. We are so happy too. So, can you tell us a little bit about you, what you do in your life, what's your background?
Sure. So I represent the second generation of Palmento Costanzo. Palmento Costanzo is a winery on the northern slopes of Etna that was born with the passion of my parents for the wine. Passion that they been able to transmit to me, and that's the reason why I choose enology and viticulture at university. So I've studied enology and viticulture. First of all, I did 3 years of university in agricultural science. That's because in general, I'm from when I was young, really have always the passion for nature. And that's the reason why at the beginning I chose these 3 years of university at agricultural science. And after I moved to enology and viticulture, because as I told you, the nature and the wine took me to choose this university. So that's a little background that I did.
That's beautiful. I remember actually when you were walking through your vineyards, you were like at home between the rows, and there were all these vines, and basically you know each single vine that is in your vineyard. And I know, I guess there's something going on, some new project planting the vines and vineyard management. So I will ask you about this later for sure. But first, I want to know actually what's your role at the winery? Like, what do you do in the winery?
So I am very dynamic person, and I always said that this work is perfect for me because the fact that there is no constance in wine make this world so fascinating, and that's the reason why in my winery my focus is especially in the vineyard and on the discover of our territory, because Etna is very, very special. After we will talk better about the three slopes and so on, but the fact that it is an active volcano make the terroir so special. And so my focus now is especially on the vineyard and to study the soil and then the plant, and then better understand which are the diversity of the parcels of our vineyard, and then to be able to follow them in micro vinification in winery. So my focus now is on the vineyard.
So, do you think that your experiences abroad influenced you in choosing specifically to work in the vineyards, or
Absolutely, yes. In fact, I ended my university in Montpellier. And after this course, I did a stage in a chateau in Haute Medoc in Pauillac, where I did my thesis based on a new project, experimental project in winery about the carbon dioxide produced in fermentation. But my real focus was on a project that they give me about the study of the terroir in Medoc, and especially the most important variety of that territory. So starting to do this project make me an open door on Etna and especially on Contrada where we are. So I came back home for this reason. I came back in October of the last year in 2023, and with this idea to study better our terroir on Etna. So this experience in France for me was very, very important because opened my mind to this new project on our winery.
That's beautiful. So now I want to know what you're actually doing on Etna with all this experience you made in France.
So, the first important project which we are studying for is relative the climate change. Also, I always said that even if on Etna we are very lucky because we are between 800 and 1,000 meters of altitude, this is very helpful in terms of climate change. But also in Etna, we saw in the last two winters that we make an anticipate harvest, and also the fact that during winter we didn't see rain make us to reflect to new approach to viticulture. So we are studying some technique that can help our plant to adapt to climate change. For example, we make some difference in the pruning time of some parcels of our vineyard, and now we've got other idea to program a new type of natural fertilization and so on. So the first project is focused on the program that can adapt our plant to climate change. And another one that I was talking before is relative the study of the terroir, because we have got the opportunity to have some hectares that are in the three slopes, different slopes of the volcano. So the idea is to study starting from the geological point of view, because as I told before, Etna is very special in terms of lava eruption that characterize the soil. So the idea is to study starting from the geological point of view, then the soil, then the phenological cycle of the plant, the grapes, and to follow them into microvinification in the cellar. So these are my two projects in the moment.
Okay, so two project and I got two questions for you, Serena.
Yeah.
So first one is, what grape varieties do you grow?
Yeah.
And second is, how many wines do you make? And if you make only like this microvinification and then you bottle them as they are, or if you also blend like the microvinification to get some wines.
So this is a very good question. So relative the grapes, we just cultivate autochthon varieties, which are Nerello Mascalese and Nerello Cappuccio for the red wine production, and Carricante and Catarratto for the white wine production. And at the beginning, we make some question to the possibility to cultivate other varieties like, Pinot, but at the end, our idea is to focus on these four varieties, which are very important for our territory and that can better represent Etna volcano.
I love
So
it.
exactly. So Nerello Mascalese is the varieties and with a little percent of Cappuccio, and the same thing for Caricante and Catarratto. And about the microvinifications, the idea now is just to study. So maybe with this study, we will discover which are, for example, the best terraces on our vineyard, and then probably produce a wine. But now is just experimental project, so no production, not new label, because until now we produce four white wine, our Moffete Bianco, Bianco di Sei and two cru. One Contrada Santo Spirito produced in Contrada Santo Spirito, where we've got the cellar, the Palmento that we restore, and then we produce Contrada Cavaliere, which is produced another cru produced from the other slopes from Cavaliere, Contrada Cavaliere in Santa Maria di Licodia. Then we produce
All right. Before you go on with the
yeah,
reds, you were talking about the storing of your winery, the rebuilding and renovation.
exactly.
I remember that you were saying that you actually had to like remove the roof to put the winemaking equipment inside. Is that right? Do I remember correctly?
Exactly, it's like this because imagine that my parents had this opportunity to restore the Palmento. In fact, we continue to vinify inside. The restoration was very, very long and difficult because we are inside the Etna Park. So it wasn't so simple, and all that you see inside were built, some inside directly and some were entered from the upper part. So you remember right, and it's true what we we are talking about.
But it's really really beautiful. I mean, I remember your restored winery is amazing, and also there's a beautiful view. There's like this window that faces the vineyards and the Etna, and it's just stunning. Like everyone was so amazed, and also the equipment you have inside is something. I mean, you really see you love what you're doing, and you're dedicating so much time experimenting also with different vessels, because you have like amphora concrete containers, some botti, right?
Yes, exactly. So
Oh, and the
um,
egg, and the wooden egg you have, right?
exactly. So another thing that I always said that in wine is very important to experiment, because any type of answer you get, positive or negative, is an answer. So our idea also to try different tank is relative in this way, because our idea is to improve every year our production, and this is the best way to get in this improvement, so try last 3 years the amphor to understand how our variety, which are Nerello, Mascalese and Carricante, can evolve inside. And so until now there is no production in terms of label, is really just to experiment. And about the egg that you mentioned before, the egg are made of French oak, Tonnellerie Taranceau, and we use them for the aging of our Contrada Santo Spirito Red for 24 months of aging, and we are very happy about that. The particularity is that there is a natural microvinification due to the egg shape, so they're very special, beautiful to see, and also beautiful to evolve wine inside.
Beautiful, and also beautiful to hug, because I remember some people are actually hugging the eggs and they were so happy. So yeah. And so what's your favorite vessel so far? What's your favorite type of tank?
So I think that all the tank are important because stainless steel is special because it maintains the typical characteristics of the variety. Wood is very interesting because for micro oxygenation is really important, because wood in wine gives tannins and aromatic compounds. So for some varieties, for example, wood is very necessary. For Nerello Mascalese can be necessary, but you can also use stainless steel depending on what is your idea of Nerello Mascalese or Caricante. And we are very happy also about the amphora, very, very interesting. And about the amphora, we are yet discovering what they can give us to our varieties, so Mascalese and Caricante.
So basically, you start studying the varietals in the vineyards and how they react also to climate change and everything. And then you continue in the winery with microvinification and experimenting with so many different vessels. That's really amazing. I mean, I can't imagine what kind of wine you'll be making in the near future because I'll be so, so excited to try them all.
Me also, really. I wanted that the nature and the grapes production can be more faster, more easy, because I would like to have all this answer in 1 year, and I know that is very, very difficult because this study take time. So maybe in 10 years we can answer to all this experimental study.
Or maybe we'll be continuing experimenting like forever because that's what's fascinating about the wines. There are so many different things involved in
Exactly.
making wines, so many different agents like the nature and the climate and the people. And I mean, it's always evolving. And so we will
Exactly.
never be done with discovering new stuff and experimenting. So who knows if you're going to find your answers, Serena?
Exactly. I hope so. But okay. It's part of the play, so okay.
Nice. And well, that said, I remember your beautiful hospitality, beautiful wines, beautiful people, beautiful hospitality. Can you please tell us, like, what's the experience at your winery if someone comes to see you?
So for us, it's really important to open the door to wine lover of all over the world. Is really, really important. That the reason why we are open from Monday to Sunday to wine lover, and the experience. Our idea is really to make a very familiar hospitality, and we do the tasting. So it's possible to taste all of our table, and you can walk through the vineyard and to better understand the production. And for us, it's really important to communicate and to explain wine and the terroir in a very simple way, because it's the perfect way to connect wine to people that has not studied wine, so has no knowledge about wine, but they want to approach to wine. So our idea is really to lead them through wine tasting that is very simple way communicated, and also very touchable, and very visceral,
Mhm.
so this is our idea. Also because I wanted to specify that Etna is not so known in all over the world. There are a lot of wine lovers that don't know Etna very much. So for us, it's really important that they come to visit us and they come to taste the wine. But I'm not talking just as owner of Palmento Costanzo, but really as a name by all the producer in Etna. I always said you have to visit also them, you have to go there, you have to make a tour on all the producer of Etna, because it's very, very special, the identity and the philosophy of each producer that are making this territory very, very important. So this is our idea.
That's fantastic. And because we're on the next generation, I was wondering, are there lots of young wine producers on Etna or
So, yes, there are. And there are the new generation that represent some winery, not too much, but there are. I have a lot of friends, and I'm very happy. I would like to say this because when I was at university and I started this course at university, I was very disappointed because I was just the only girl in the course. And at the beginning, I always think, oh my God, there are no girls. Oh my God, there are not so much people that wanted to study the production of wine, the agriculture, and so on. And for me, was not so good. And starting to traveling to go to Vinitaly, for example, or to go to other manifestation like Vinitaly, for example, I noticed that there are a lot of young people that not only studied marketing, for example, or economy, and then are working in the business family, but there are a lot of people, especially girl, young people, and especially girl, that studied enology, viticulture, and that now are working in the land, are working in the production. And I think that this is very, very special. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, it's very, very beautiful to hear all this. There's the synergy on Etna, like also between the producers and especially young producers, and more people are actually choosing to go back to the land and make
Exactly.
outstanding wines out of it. So that's really beautiful. But
Yes, because it represents the future, so the next generation represent the future of the production, and that's very special.
and so, talking about wines again, of course, I was wondering if you have to pick one wine of yours and pair it with a typical local dish, what would it be and why?
So it's not so simple because there are a lot of special, typical Sicilian dish. But I think I would choose maybe pasta con le sarde. I don't know if you ever heard about that, but
I did.
and maybe I can pair with Contra da Cavaliere or also Bianco di Sei.
Mhm.
And because Bianco di Sei Caricante is a variety which is very fresh with high acidity, sapidity, and also minerality. But the minerality you will get it in time in aging in bottle. So I probably choose pasta con le sarde and contra da cavaliere. Yes.
Delicious. My mouth is like picturing this beautiful pairing. Well, so talking about the next generation still, do you have lots of young people coming to visit you, or do you see lots of young people interested in wine, or how's the situation according to you?
So, to be sure, after COVID, what I saw was that a lot of young people starting to leave Saturday and Sunday during the day. So, young people normally go outside the night and so on. After COVID, after that period that was not so good for, especially for young people, what I saw, a lot of young people starting to go outside and discover Etna, but also other territory, and they discovered that on Etna there is a production, there is viticulture, there is a winemaking. So from I think that from that period they started to go out and to discover the territory, and especially to live an experience because. For sure, doing a wine tasting in an area like Etna is very special, and you can live really an experience. And what I think now is that all of us we wanted to live an experience. So this is the reason why I think that a lot of young people discover wine, not really connected to wine, also because our generation when go out in the night drink a lot of cocktail and not wine. But the fact that with wine you can live an experience make this fascinating part for a young that didn't know well wine. So this is connect also the fact was I was telling before is very important for us to make very simple communication, to make all the young people to visit us and to discover what there is behind a bottle of wine. So I think that this is the best approach, a simple way to communicate to the new generation.
100% agree. You're totally right. And I got just one last question for you, and it's like, do you see the future of Edna white or red?
is so is not so simple answer, because both Nerello and Carricante, with the characteristics that they has got, so acidity, sapidity, and minerality for the white, and also tannins and acidity and minerality also for the red. I think that both can be the future. Also, if you vinify Nerello in a very simple way. But for now, maybe answer Caricante, because the white wine are the one that also young people drink more than a red. So probably I answer Caricante. But in terms of enological point of view, the both varieties, so Caricante and Nerello. We will discover it.
Yeah, we will know in the future. Who knows? Well, Serena, is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up the episode? Or you think that's it? Something you want to say, you want to share with us?
No, probably we are talk about young generation, young people. So if there is any young people that is hearing this podcast, I hope that will discover better the world of wine, the world of wine, and probably Etna. So
And the world of Palmento Costanzo, of course, right?
yes, that's sure. So
Serena will be waiting for you, such an enthusiastic young woman, full of joy, full of life, full of energy, and she can actually transmit all this to you. So please go to visit Palmento Costanzo if you're on Etna, and go also around Etna.
thank you very much.
You're most welcome. Thank you for finding some time with us. It's been a real pleasure for me, Serena. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much to you.
Thank you. Well, stay tuned for the next episode next Sunday of The Next Generation on the Italian Wine Podcast. Cin cin!
Grazie for being with me today and listening to the next generation on the Italian Wine Podcast. Alla prossima! Cin cin!